As a child growing up in New York, we would not too infrequently take road trips. Sometimes we would go to the upstate of New York. More frequently, we would take road trips from Long Island all the way down to Florida. And one of the things that we amused ourselves during those trips was looking at the various signs of different cities and towns. And we were amazed at how many of them actually had biblical names. For example, cities and towns named Hebron or Salem, Shiloh, Rehovot, Canaan, Goshen, Lebanon, and not surprisingly, on Long Island, not far from where I grew up, there was Jericho. But all that actually pales in comparison, in terms of sheer number of names, that there are over 39 cities or towns in the United States named after Jerusalem. Now, a lot of this has to do, the biblical naming and whatnot, in North America, particularly the United States, with the waves of early pilgrims and settlers that came to the United States believing that America would be the new promised land. But also looking throughout the wider world, we see that there are many cities and towns that are named after biblical sites, and in particular, Jerusalem. I mention this, of course, because this coming Sunday we celebrate Yom Yerushalayim, Jerusalem Day, which recalls and marks for us that remarkable 6 days in 1967, when the Jewish world, already turned over its head many times over, was rewarded with the reunification of the city of Jerusalem. It is a remarkable consideration, one that's so commonplace that it doesn't seem like a miracle anymore. But on Sunday night, we are reminded once again to heed the miracle. And that is, you can land at the airport in Israel, jump into a car. 30 minutes later, you will enter through the main road of Jerusalem. You then can take that cab and go from the west side, the new part of the city, into the east side, or the old part of the city. You can disembark the cab and then maybe perhaps a 5-minute walk. You can walk into the old city and touch the sacred stones of the Western Wall. There is certainly no miracle that could have occurred in Jewish history quite as magnificent as that one. And yet, it's ours to live in. As we celebrate on Sunday evening the beginning of Jerusalem Day, our hearts will be a little bit heavy. Last week, the terrible tragedy up north in Israel in the town of Meron, claiming the lives of 45 innocent people. And here locally, our lockdown continues. Our ICUs are filled. Cases are still very high. And it's a sad time for us as well. But as a theologian once noted, that the first day of spring is not necessarily the first spring day, which means, even though the calendar has turned, we know that brighter, better, warmer, and happier days are very close at hand. So my friends, stay strong. Keep the smile on your face. The good times are on their way. A Chag Sameach to us all.